Awful. Awful. Because if he didn't stand up, I would have come at Senator Dan Paul very hard and very vexed, but now I'm in a good mood because some intelligence came, some understanding, some good points, so I am happy. But Senator Dan Paul, let me deal with you anyway. Yeah? First of all, sir, this bill is not about gun, but it's setting, codifying what exists in the common law, okay? But obviously, if you listen to the Attorney General and the Honorable Prime Minister and the government, we want to keep our citizens safe. Because unfortunately, for 10 long years, when your government was in charge, nothing functioned. You didn't help the judiciary. You didn't help the DPP. The DPP at 37%. You didn't buy car. People were under attack in their homes. They call in. Nobody answering the phone. The police had no car to come. They come after the bandits gone and people lying down dead already. So we have to protect the citizens because one life lost, one home invasion, all you asking about, if it was the number, if it's 500, 520, if it is one, it is too many. We have to protect the people. I sit here and I hear some of the most ludicrous arguments. You're talking, and then they talk about a gun. You're not, if guns are going to any FUL holder as Senator thank you. My calm didn't last long, but I was still good. There is a process. A gun is not something that you just hand out like dinner mint. There is training, there is practice, there is psychological testing. You don't get a gun and just say, well, what to do with this? So when you're in your house and bandits come in, you are well trained. Then there's the other thing, the PNM coming up with, creating all sorts of cases. There's no panacea for anything. The baddest soldier in the world could die. Rambo could kill because the guns kill. There may be circumstances where you are caught and you have to understand and your training has to kick in. If you are sleeping in your bed, and they will teach you also when you're sleeping in your bed, your gun will be right there turned. So if you wake up and you put your hand so it does hold it correct, they teach you all sorts of things. But if you are caught and you are at a disadvantage, you have to know to go to plan B, which is de-escalate, calm, talk down the bandit, try to save your family. It's not Wild West. There will be training as there has been since time immemorial. You have to hand out a gun like wildness. Furthermore, they keep saying about going. Anyway, the Attorney General will deal with that because Senator McNish, let me move on. You said the government can't be a part-time lover, Senator Dan Paul. But you was a part-time Minister of Finance, you get a little Kobo sweat. But then you also said that in minutes, we could have locked down this country with technology and so on, but you had 30 days. How come you didn't do it? It was only take minutes. But you didn't do it. So then we have to ask the question. Since it was so easy, and $500 billion you spent in 9.5 years. How come the country not locked down with AI and technology? How come the country not safe? How come the citizens dying? So that means since it was so easy, Senator Dan Paul, then the mens rea is there to show that you all did not want to do it. And we have to ask the question why. We have to ask the question why the PNM didn't do it. Why they left the borders unchecked. Why they let all the boats sit down there? Why they didn't get diesel? Why they crashed the air guard? Why 23 pilots left? Why no helicopters? Why they didn't fix the radar? I have to ask you why now, because are your team ain't? You see, you should not jump into a team that you don't know about. Because if it was so easy, then why are my citizens dying like that? Senator Abdul Hamid, welcome back, boy. I forgive you for not being good today because you're rusty. You ain't come here for 15 years. Ken Julian and Patrick Manning must be ashamed at what you came here to debate today. You come to read from an Oxford University study about racial bias in Trinidad and Tobago. The last time I checked as the Douglas here, all are we black and brown. But you all taking a study that deals with Anglo-Saxon white people oppressing black and brown people and come to tell me that black and brown people go oppress who? Who going to oppress who? The kind of nonsense I have to sit down in the Senate and listen to. All you just research and book anything and read it out to say what? A bright? He said the state has the responsibility, yes, to provide safety and security. But as I just said, for 9.5 years, there's no safety, no security. So what are we to do? So what the PNM is saying, we must leave the citizens at the mercy of criminals that have illegal guns, running up in their house with AR, 9mm, and so on. Don't do anything while we fix the other things that they didn't fix. No, we say citizens deserve the right to protect themselves. Whether the wife protect the husband protect the wife and the children, they have the right so to do. But we will fix everything else also. They talk about that this is empowerment, that we shirk our responsibility and give fake empowerment to citizens. Well, the PNM policy was based on the former Prime Minister, who dead. Well, we say no, nobody must dead. Crime is down 46%. You see us celebrating and drinking a White Oak and soda? No, it's going down, but we're not happy. We have to get our place and our country. No, you don't drink, so you just contribute sober and talk nonsense, so I don't know what to do with you. Senator Abdul Hamid said there's a desperate population. No, he was in the wilderness because the former Prime Minister didn't want him and didn't have him around, so he obviously didn't have an impact. But the population is desperate because of the failure of the People's National Movement for 9.5 years to provide safety, security, resources to the agencies to protect us. So don't come here and say, well, the country just get desperate from April 29th. No, we will fix it because you all were incompetent and incapable so to do. So according to Senator Abdul Hamid, Section 6.1 and 6.2, the police wouldn't read the law. They go just reach in on a scene and charge. As they reach a charge, and you're going down. That's how it operates. So the police here have ability to read the 9 clauses of this bill, understand, look two gun and a cutlass there and 3 dead man. Oh, let me charge him. That's not how it operates. We live in a real world. Senator, so you spoke already and you didn't do very well. Don't interrupt me because I just get worse when you give me crosstalk, right? Senator Larry Lala, the temporary PNM senator, came in and said, the police, the courts, the DPP, they need to function properly. But he just joined that team and said it's the best team, the red team. 2 days before our election, he jumped across to lose and come to tell us that the police need help, the judiciary need help, the DPP need help, but tell us that the PNM is a good party. It's illogical. We are in this mess because there's a reason: incompetence, lack of effort, lack of resources, lack of understanding. And y'all come here now when we have to fix the mess and making up all sorts of fancy stories like Aesop fable. Well, thank God meritocracy is back. Because for 9.5 years, it didn't matter how bright you were. It didn't matter how much you study, how much O-levels you get. You could have do no maths and become the Attorney General. You could have take 6 subjects, fail 5, and become the Minister of National Security. But on April 28, meritocracy is back. People who are qualified would be in positions so to do the job of the people. So this right here now, it seems that SC, when I listen to the Honorable Temporary Senator Larry Lala, SC today stands for Sanjeev Clone, because he said he listened to 18. Well, 18 contributions at an average of 35 to 40 minutes. Wow, that was great research. To come here and talk all that nonsense after that research, it's best he had stayed in bed and sleep. because all he did was regurgitate and repeat what former temporary Senator Sanjeev Budu said on Tuesday. The exact same points. I just don't bother with the standing orders, or I would have stood up on repetition at least 7 times. So when you see Sanjeev clone talking, you know that the PNM is lost. Out of the 10 PNM senators here, they're talking about a gun state and a gun culture. If you all have been asleep at the wheel, Trinidad and Tobago is a gun state. There is a gun culture. The criminals have gun, all kind of gun, with weapons and bullets and ammunition coming from the army. 25,000 rounds lost and disappeared under the PNM. So what gun culture you all talking about? You all against law-abiding citizens, even though there's not a gun bill. But the Attorney General said, and the Prime Minister said, we want to give people a responsible attempt and ability to protect themselves. You want a man running with an AR-15, you going and run out with a Puya? That is not fair. That is not right. And the principle must stand that this is my house. The amount of excuse I hear, I hope plenty of you all who spoke are not parents, you know. Because if you are telling me and your children listening that, oh, you run inside Johnny's house with a gun and a knife, they shouldn't shoot you. We have a parenting deficit, and it starts with leadership. I heard PNM speakers on a platform saying to their own citizens and their own people in Red Jersey, is all your children running up? And they did nothing about it. If you know that, why don't you all put in some parenting classes, some discipline, some karate and something, and teach the supporters? No, you leave them so and come here to criticize this government when we have to try and fix the nonsense that you all have this country in. Well, Senator Lala advising the UNC government on what to do is like Crow talking about racial harmony and unity. It's like Keith Rowley advising a political party on how to select a prime minister democratically. It's like Senator Al-Rawi advising on how to rent a building properly. That is what I heard here today. And I try not to laugh, but that's the best the PNM have. Our rejects, all they bring here to talk, to advise us after you have failed the country. I mean, at some point, this thing had to get serious. This is not a joke here. The USA has Lollapalooza. It's a music festival, you know, Lollapalooza. Well, today, Trinidad and Tobago have Lala de Loser. We have the competition. They give up. The PNM give up. They capitulate. They surrender when they chose temporary Senator Larry Lala, a.k.a. Larry the Loser. The man losing everything in politics, in court. And today this debate, last on Tuesday, I thought, I like debate because debate is competition. And I want to go against the PNM, or they could bring 10 of them, whoever, and I would like that competition. But from the time I see temporary Senator Larry Lala, I know all the laws, because he bunked the laws. Honorable Senator Lewis, I'm going to borrow your word, mosaic. You used it twice. It was beautiful, brilliant, timely. So therefore, one piece of legislation does not a mosaic make. The Honorable Attorney General went to great pains to say this is just one piece. One piece, one thing to try and help. The mosaic is coming. It's building. So one little piece, right? Law enforcement. Okay, and I will have to talk to my Senator Atz also. It was beautiful, it was brilliant, amazing. Senator Atz, with all due respect, we are in the Red House, we're in the Senate, the upper house, downstairs, the lower house. This is the executive arm. We are legislators. We have our function to do. We can't impact the independent judiciary. We're not there to fix that. That's the job of the Chief Justice. Now we, Minister of Finance, could go and give resources, which will happen because the judiciary was starved for resources for 9.5 years. But the government is not to come here with a plan to fix the judiciary. That goes against the separation of powers. Yes, but the mosaic, my lady, Honorable Senator, the Chief Justice will have to create his part of that mosaic. The executive cannot get in the Chief Justice domain, and the Commissioner of Police is in charge of those independent, yes, and then all together it will form a tapestry. No, we don't use mosaic. So we got a tapestry. Yeah. On this side we kind of bright. We don't starve for words on this side, right? So I just wanted you to know that. So there is an overall plan. Yes, and it is there, and if you listen, you will hear it, you will feel it, and you will see it. You will understand, first and foremost, there is a substantive commissioner of police, and there's not one that has been handpicked by a prime minister going to whisper in a president's ears to thwart a merit list and make the police service commission resign, and everything collapse, and then hand select and number 12 move to number 1 and so on. That doesn't exist anymore. So that's the first piece. Then the plans will be implemented. The Minister of Finance will then get funding to the TTPS to create and increase the technology to lock down the country in minutes, as the Minister of Finance for a month knew but couldn't do it. We will do it. And then we will also deal with the DPP, will give his impact and what his requests are for his office. We can't instruct him. We have to listen and try to get resources for his office. The last report we saw, he was operating at 39% of the attorneys necessary. So we'll have to get more money so he can hire more attorneys, more experts, get a better office. The PNM didn't even put him in an office. They spent $55 million for an empty shell for mosquito to fly around for 5 years. That's what they do, okay? $48 million, you see, my minister is helping me. So, you know, I listen to your contribution, but when you try to blame the executive for things that we don't control, it's like if I were to stand up here and blame a new board member of a corporation who just took up a position in November, but under her corporation, under her board, there's a media house that is totally biased and spews PNM propaganda through editorials and so on for the last 13 years. It will not be right of me to blame that board member for the continuing malady and lack of journalism and journalistic integrity of that Guardian Media Limited that you are now there. So I would hope that you would understand that we must accept our responsibility and not blame people who do not control things. So we are here. We have brought one piece of legislation, part and parcel of our job that we have to do to keep the people safe. All the other aspects will be seen about as much as we can do. And I think it was, he's not here today, Senator De Labastide. Same thing, same sort of theme. He said, what? This piece of legislation, what is this? Just this? There's more, it needs more. Well, you know, we're in the Christmas season. And even though I'm a Douglas, my good ex-wife is a Portuguese and I like garlic pork. So when you're going to make garlic pork, you have to buy the pork. My ex-mother-in-law will do it. She go and buy the vinegar and the Portuguese thyme and whatever they put with the garlic and thing. And then you put it all together and you leave it to kusumere for about you leave it soaking for about 14 days, and then bam, Christmas morning, garlic pork. So you see, things take time. This is just one ingredient. The garlic pork come in, so don't get excited. Yes. Now, and then the most ridiculous thing that I've heard, PNM members of parliament talking about what citizens getting guns, and this will be a wild, wild west, and some of these very PNM ministers have 5 guns, you know. They have 5 guns. They had one that they say was automatic. They so didn't need it. They give it as a gift to the police. So they keep the other 4, and then they have these 4 guns. And they also had special branch driving them around. Yeah. Even though they weren't Minister of National Security, they weren't Attorney General, they weren't the prime minister. They have special branch with them. They have the gun. They're living in a gated community with 3 security by the gate, a thing to arm to come up, and then patrols. And also, the children have special branch in Fatima College, and they are not even the Attorney General, the Minister of National Security, nor the Prime Minister, but them telling citizens that they can't get a gun home to keep their children safe. That is hypocrisy of the highest order. Our next PNM who rent out the own building without the approval so to do, he have residential approval, rent for 6 years, going on 9 years at commercial rates. He children have shooting fancy gun, and he boasts that if in anything, any situation, his children are trained to hold that gun and shoot. So what about we children? That is the difference between the UNC and the PNM. The PNM wants all that is good and safe for themselves and leave everybody else to wean themselves off of everything else. It is hypocritical, and it is sad and disrespectful. Wanting, all you might say, Anil boy, you just get vexed, you just get passionate, because me ain't this thing for no game. And let me tell you something. I knock on wood, nothing happened to my children or my family, but when it happened to somebody's family, my mother teach me to feel it like if it's your child. That's why I just get vexed. 2007, under them PNM, kidnapping was reared its ugly head. And I was on radio with Dennis Hall, sprang along. Start at 4:20, go to 7 p.m. And the news came in that 2 Nat boys had been kidnapped from somewhere in Grandy or something. And it was about the 12th kidnapping within 3 months and so on. And I went on the radio vexed. And then when we opened up the lines, a PNM caller called one time, a Mr. Enterprise. And he said, Anil, what happened to you? Why are you so vexed? I said, sir, because kidnapping is not only the children who get kidnapped, the mother, the grandmother, the auntie, the nenen, everybody nervous, the pain, the frustration, the anxiety. I said, this is a serious thing. He said, your children, anything happened to your children? I said, no, how you mean? And I knock on wood, I knock on the table, sprang along sitting there with the hand on the belly, so. I said, how you mean? He said, well, if nothing happened to your children, why you vexed? And you know what? I hear that attitude in this PNM bench here today, and that is what I can't take. Because they have all the security, they have all the gated community, their family safe and sound. And when we want to make everybody safe and sound, they are coming here to obstruct and talk nonsense. Now, I listen to about 25 speakers in the Senate. And I don't believe that I am the one who's going to go back to basics. Because I might be the least religious or the least spiritual senator here. But not one of the senators went back to the real essence of what we are doing here. You know? So let me take you to the Bible. From the Bible, Exodus 22, verses 2 and 3. The Bible recognizes our man's right to defend his home. When a thief breaks in at night, the homeowner may respond to protect his dwelling. Sources summarizing self-defense in Scripture point to this as a foundation for defending oneself and one home. Nehemiah, imagine all they getting Scripture from the Douglas. This is a first. 4:14. During the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls, the people stationed behind the wall at the exposed places with weapons in hand to defend their families and homes from attack. This is what we're doing. You feel I just went Christian? Let me go to the Quran then. Quran, Surah 2, verse 190. Fight in the way of Allah those who fight you, but do not transgress. Indeed, Allah does not like transgressors. Some of the PNM come here to tell me that when a man run into my house that I paying mortgage for at 9% interest, and I paying Tiantec bill and Wasa bill, and all of that, when he run into my house, to humbug me, and he have a gun, weapon, whatever, and my child they doing she homework, that y'all telling me that if I take him out or I shoot him, that I am as wrong as he is? Madness. I said, ah, man, the Bible, the Quran. Let me continue. Quran, Surah 22, verse 39. Permission to fight has been granted to those against whom fighting has been launched because they have been wronged. This has historically been taken to allow self-defense for individuals or communities under unjust attack, including defense of life, property, and honor. Some of you all are saying, why are you all saying that you could defend your property? If your property in your house and your family and your daughter and your wife and your granny, what you going to do? Stop and interrogate? Hey, bandit with the 9mm point in my mouth. Where you come for the TV or you come to shoot me? What madness? What is wrong? This bill is real life. Is it perfect? No. We could adjust and we could amend. The Attorney General is brilliant. But the essence of it cannot be denied. We need to help the families, people, the citizens protect themselves. We had a former Attorney General who couldn't even read the bill, who said that squatters somehow wouldn't get. So therefore there's a racist, classist thing. The man needs to learn to read. He stayed in law school so long and still can't read. And that's the PNM Attorney General former who brought law after law here but cannot read simple English. Squatters have the same rights under this law as the Attorney General said. And the definition at clause 3.1 will let you know that. I'm not done there. Bhagavad Gita. Protection of the good. Chapter 4, verse 8. Protection of the good for the destruction of the wicked and for upholding Dharma. I manifest myself in every age. This conveys that protecting the righteous, the good and the innocent, and removing evil and wrongdoers is a divine principle. Imagine I have to be discussing and trying to argue with PNM, a divine principle. That shows the evil of this PNM. That's why you all were rejected on April 28th, and you all will be rejected again. A divine principle. It underlines that defense of the innocent and opposition to evil can be a righteous duty, morally illicit, even divinely sanctioned. Not finished there. Dharma protects those who protect it. This suggests a reciprocal relationship. Those who uphold or defend righteousness, Dharma, are themselves protected. Interpreted in modern context, this can support the idea that defending one home, family, or community, i.e. standing up for what is right, is just and rightful. Each and every citizen who believes in righteousness, who has moral fiber, intelligence, has to vote for this. This is not just a piece of paper. It's a divine right of every individual to protect themselves from evil in their home. We spoke about manhood. I don't want to talk too much about man, but I can't give the female perspective no matter how bright I am. I am unable so to do. But I understand what Senator Choate is saying. And some of the greatest defenders of family and children are women who do things that when they're protecting their child, they do things that are above and beyond what is humanly possible. And this is the principle. So if that instinct is in the mother, this legislation is just extending that mother's protective instinct of give people the opportunity to protect themselves against evildoers. Will we fix the other things? We are already fixing the flow of drugs and guns and human trafficking by the Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the member for Siparia, supporting the U.S. position against narco-terrorism, against drug runners. So those of you who feel, oh gosh, it's too harsh, the blood has been flowing in our streets. 624 murders in 2024. You heard that figure, you know that figure, Senator Dan Paul. You saw that one? You didn't see it? You didn't feel it? What about the little girl, 7 years old, when bandits came for her father and he tried to protect her and grab her and hug her? A bullet went through him and killed her. That's not funny. We will fix that. The resources, our country is in a devastating mess because of the despicable evil of the PNM. We know that. So this is just one element brought here by Attorney General, who's going to bring a suite of legislation. But legislation alone will not fix it. I agree. The tapestry, all of us need to be on board. All of us need to do the right thing. All of us need to understand that we must not be selfish and live in gated communities where our family is safe and sound, and you're singing and you're drinking punch crema under your Christmas tree with 3 security guards and patrol with 5 guns in your house, but other people outside there at risk. And then your former Prime Minister, who probably talking same time now because the election in Tobago coming and another curtail coming, and he don't know that when he talk, the curtail would be worse. He's talking, but he said who dead, dead, and who live, live, while he sat down with 3 special branch. Oh, I know my time.
10 minutes.
Yeah. Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, in accordance with Standing Order 14.5, I beg to move that the Senate continue to sit until the completion of the business at hand.
Honorable Senators, the question is that the Senate continue to sit until the completion of the business at hand. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. This Senate will continue to sit until the completion of the business at hand. Continue, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. Somebody said it's not, this may not be a deterrent. Well, let me tell you something. Criminals are bullies. And you know what a bully cannot take? When someone stands in their face and fight back. Bullies take advantage. The PNM won't understand this because their last 2 leaders are bullies. One was a bully in St. Mary's College for 5 years until Imran Khan had to eventually go against his character and beat him and throw him in a dustbin. But that's what happens. Bullies, when they are met by equal force and equal power, they are cowards in their heart and essence. So will it be a deterrent? Of course it will be. Because bullies look for easy targets. They look for homes that are unprotected. They look for single mothers and children. They look for places that do not have. But when they know that every citizen who is of good character has the right and the ability to defend themselves, they will get back to basics. The basic principle is, stay out my house, is not your own. What's so hard to understand? Stay out my house is not your own. And these nonsensical anecdotes about if a man climbing a mango tree, who go shoot him? What rubbish are we debating here? Who in their right mind, when somebody climbing a mango tree with both of their hands up in the mango tree, will legitimately say, I feel threatened, and shoot and kill him? Well, he deserves to be charged if he's that stupid. Those things are not realistic. That's nonsensical. Senator Sanjeev Boodoo. The first one, not the one we have today, and Senator Lala, who regurgitated everything. When he started to talk, he talked like if everything was under control under the PNM. There was no crime problem. He said that things were smooth. I don't know where he was living or under what rock he was. Let me just give him July 19, 2022, El Socorro. And to those who say that having a weapon or having an ability to defend does not change, because the PNM was also throwing around downstairs and outside in newspapers, stand your ground. Even one member, the member for San Fernando East, talked on a Facebook and put on a Facebook post that this is racist because the stand their ground legislation with the Trayvon Martin case in Florida. Number one, that had nothing to do with a home invasion. That happened in the street. The public road in a gated community with a racist fella, and they were disputing facts about whether they fought and they didn't fight, and the man's face was bust up and a shot went off. That's a totally different case than what we are talking. But they just want to bring race into it. We in Trinidad and Tobago are one race. Trinidad and Tobago, all of us bleed the same. We don't have any distinction. We don't have Jim Crow laws. We didn't go through no civil rights movement. We don't have states like Mississippi where a black or a brown man will go and they want to beat him just for going in a 7-Eleven. That's a different culture. That's not our culture. Don't try to read studies from that and bring it here. But having an ability to utilize a weapon in a trained, disciplined fashion gives you an opportunity to survive. July 19, 2022, at about 4 a.m., a businessman and his 88-year-old father was asleep in their home at the back of the family's dry goods business when they were awakened by a loud banging on the door. When the businessman checked, he saw 6 armed intruders attempting to break in. The homeowner, four? Oh, I didn't see it. I said 4. You told us 2. You know, because you did good and I was happy. Don't get on my wrong side. Eh, Senator? We're going good. Thank you. So the homeowner who possessed a licensed firearm fired at the intruders. Police later discovered that 2 intruders were dead and a 3rd one wounded at hospital. The homeowner immediately called the police. But he is alive. His granny, 88-year-old, alive, and children alive. January 2, 2021, Freeport. The incident occurred at 12:55 a.m. when the homeowner heard noises of someone breaking into the house. He left his room and saw a masked intruder wearing dark clothing, face covered. According to his account, the intruder followed him, went back into the room, closed the door, but the intruder forced the door. The gun fell to the floor during the struggle. The homeowner picked it up and fired. The intruder collapsed from the shots. Now this person was lucky, but his fight or flight, he decided to fight, which could end up with bad results or good results. There is no perfect system. Anytime guns are involved, weapons are involved, bad things can happen. But to sit down here and nitpick and say, well, if you're sleeping and a man have a gun, well, if a man have a gun in your head and you're snoring and you're dreaming, well, then hard luck, he catch you. You now have to try to come out of it alive by talking calmly, and there's no fighting there. Some of the best trained people make mistakes. Some of you all may not remember, but there was a video of about 2.5, 3 years ago. A police officer off duty, one of the best trained when they're shooting competitions and so on. He's a marksman extraordinaire, active shooting and so on, quick draw. He and his partner were sitting down. And now he made a mistake. His back was to the door in the bar. His wife was to his left and 2 people forward. A one-armed man came in with a gun, had them covered from a height. His training would have told them, well, they have you covered, stay calm, try to de-escalate. But because of his expert training, his arrogance, he took the gun out and fired. He hit the bandit twice. But a bandit does not immediately die. So while he was falling, his finger squeezed the trigger. The police officer got hit 1 here and died. So there's no perfect discussion. There will always be pros and cons. But the overriding principle is that because of 9.5 years of neglect, the state apparatus cannot protect the people. The people now have to be given the opportunity to protect themselves and their families in their homes. It is divine, it is simple, and we ask you to support it. God bless. Thank you, Mr. President.